Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're about to get started. If we can find our seats, silence our cell phones like I'm about to do. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 11th day of December in the year 2023. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 4:03 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Prinzary.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh. Yet. Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore. Not here. Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 6 council members in attendance at 4:03 p.m. On behalf of Council President Waterman, members of the Municipal Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2023, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, December 15th, 2022. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, December 8th, 2023 at 5:55 p.m. to the mayor, municipal council, business administrator, corporation council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Council President, before I turn it over to you, I just want to make a special announcement. We have a birthday in the house of one of our council members, so please give a nice little warm happy birthday to Councilperson Prinzary. Who wants to celebrate their birthday on a caucus? But anyway, all right. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the Council President.
Good afternoon. Our first director, Director Shea.
Good evening, Council President, President Pro Tempore, members of the council. The Department of Public Safety has one resolution before you tonight. It's item number 10.14, resolution 23-917. This is a resolution authorizing an award of a contract to Turnout Fire and Safety for the purchase of uniforms for the traffic unit enforcement officers through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative. So it is a cooperative purchase, not a bid, for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police. These are for our civilian traffic enforcement officers. They're the high visibility uniforms that keep them safe. It's in the amount of $19,480 and covers the uniforms we should need for new hires all year.
Questions?
Turnout is a local vendor, which everybody knows.
It's not about turnout, but just Councilman Gilmore, and we discussed this in the budget hearing. Do we have the budget request while the public safety director is here? Is that back on the agenda? I didn't see it, but I didn't know what to put for that.
You're from the appropriation transfers?
Yeah.
It is not on this agenda.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear because I thought the budget office had said it wasn't going to be. Okay. All right, that's it.
Say Director.
Yeah, Director, you never got back to me.
Still working on that. A different issue, not to be done here. Okay, thank you, Council President, and Merry Christmas, since this is the last meeting before the holidays. Thank you.
3 holidays.
This meeting,
Director Kears.
wait, we don't have. Good evening, President Waterman, members of the council. I have 8 items before you today. First one is 10/16/23/919 resolution with order of contract to the Gillespie Group under the Hunterdon County Educational Service Commission, HCESC, to deliver equipment and perform services associated with the floor of the de-escalation center. Services include polishing 26,600 square foot of flooring and 300 linear foot of resinous floor repair for crack repairs. Total amount of the contract is $245,950.
Questions?
Next item, 10/18, 23-321-921. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Rich's Tree Service for the pruning, trimming, and removal services citywide on the New Jersey State contract. The total amount of the contract is $400,000.
Question.
Is this the same vendor we've used in the past or is it change?
Excuse me,
Is
Council?
this the same vendor we've used in the past?
Yes, same vendor. Yeah.
Okay. And are we generally happy with the work that they've been providing for us?
Yeah, based on the amount of trees in the city, it's obviously beyond what our own people can do. But yeah, there's been no issues. The forester has expressed that he's satisfied with their services.
Okay, and their focus is, if we have, really large trees that our internal team doesn't have the capacity to do, is this the group that focuses on them?
Yeah, we have a limited amount of people assigned to forestry. So, and based on the tree canopy in the city, it's far beyond the scope of what they're able to perform. So these people come in and do the necessary trimming and other issues. If we have storm problems, they'll also supplement our crew during those events.
Yep, correct. Thank you.
10/19/23/922. Resolution will authorize award of an open and competitive bid contract to Continental Hardware to provide lumber and associated building materials for the Department of Public Works. Amount of the contract is $296,020.78. And 20/23/923, this resolution will authorize the award of emergency contract to Amber Air for the purchase and installation of 2 new boilers at 2 Jersey City firehouses located at 152 Lincoln Street and 468 Ocean Avenue, necessary to protect the health, welfare, and safety of our city employees. Total amount of the contract is $67,328.93.
Greg, is that engine 22?
Yes, it is.
I assume the current boiler is not functioning?
Yeah, they're old. These are some of the older buildings and what we're doing, I put into the budget request to actually hire an internal HVAC person that can make sure that, these old buildings and the units itself are being serviced properly, cut down on the cost. So hopefully it'll be approved.
Okay, thank you.
Greg,
10/21/20.
Just a minute.
Greg, I just wanted to just add, maybe next year when we come back, I'm sure that there's a lot of firehouses, but engine 22 is really in bad shape. Maybe if we can sit down and we can get bids on, they basically need a whole new everything in that firehouse.
The facilities, out of the 26 plus firehouses we have, each one has its own problems. Actually, we're trying to put together a program. There may be some available CDBG money. So Chief DiGilio and I have been working on it to see if we can at least, use some of that funding to repair these buildings. They're all built old turn of the century buildings for the most part, like the police stations. Let's see, 23/924, 10/21. Resolution will authorize a month-to-month extension not to exceed 3 months, effective on December 14, 2023, to Amber Air LLC to provide HVAC and boiler maintenance for city-owned properties. Total cost of this contract shall not exceed $80,000 with a temporary encumbrancy of $30,000 from the DPW operating account. 10/22/23/925, a resolution will authorize the award of an open-end contract to Northeast Auto Parts LLC under the National Association of State Purchasing Officials for the purchase and delivery of various automobile parts for the city's vehicle fleet. Total amount of the contract is $1,400,000. 10/23, Resolution 23/926, resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Morton Salt for the purchase and delivery of rock salt to a cooperative agreement between the city of Jersey City and Hudson County. Total amount of the contract is $800,000. And the last will be 23/931, 10/28. Resolution will authorize the award of an open-end contract to Persistent Construction for snow removal under a public bid. Total amount of this contract is $1,102,800. Temporary encumbrance in amount of $10,000 will be established under account 01-201-26-292-394. Thank you. Happy holidays to all.
Hello, Council.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. We're doing agenda number 1031, Resolution 23-934. This is a resolution authorizing the implementation of the first renewal option of a service agreement with Empower, formerly Prudential Insurance Company of America. This is for the voluntary DC plan, for the voluntary Jersey City Deferred Compensation Plan.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holiday. Tyrone?
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I'm coming to you to request that we untable two items. 11.2, ordinance 22-080, and item 11.3, ordinance 23-017. We came here earlier this year, and the reason these were tabled was because at the time, we hadn't decided whether or not we were going to subcontract the lead inspections or bring it in-house. Since then, we have decided that the best course of action was to bring it to my department. We've also been working very closely with the BA's department to come up with a comprehensive plan to make sure we get this done properly, including seeing how many people would need to be hired to get this done in an adequate amount of time. Since then, we've also secured 2 grants that would cover all of the employees that we would need, plus the fees, because the fees outside of the city would have cost constituents up to about $450 to $500 per inspection. Doing it in the city is only going to cost them about $250 per inspection. So with the fees plus the grants, we've done more than enough to make sure that we've ensured that this wouldn't cost the city anything. And so now the best way to move forward, we believe, is to bring it back to our department and untable both of these items.
Director Richardson, I know it's 11.3, City Ordinance 23-017. What was the second one?
I'm sorry, 11-4. I'm sorry, I said 2 and 3, but it's actually 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Director, do you have the personnel for these lead inspections?
Yeah, so altogether, what we was going to require to get them done, because we're looking at, we did the count, and right now we're looking at about 28,000 units that would need to be done. Of course, this was supposed to be done by June of this year, so we're behind. So to get it ahead of the game, we're looking to hire at least 10, which that will be 6 inspectors, 4 clerks. We already have the 2 inspectors actually coming next week. We'll have the 2 clerks hopefully coming before the end of the year. And then once we ramp things up, we'll bring on the more employees as things are make sure that we're ready for them.
Well, my last question is, being that you have so many units, then are these employees seasonal or are they full-time?
All full-time. And then the units are going to have to be inspected every 3rd year. Thank you, guys. Happy holidays.
Cinda?
Good evening, Council President and Council members. Lucinda McLaughlin, before you just on one item today, which is item 10.17, resolution number 23-920. This is a resolution authorizing the award of an open-ended contract to Clark Moynihan Landscape for the 2024 general maintenance of Pershing Field and Gateway Parks. This is was a public bid, and Clark Moynihan was the responsive bidder. And they are already underway in the city on additional parks that we are already contracting services on to supplement our staff. And we are spreading it now to 2 additional parks for 2024.
Christian?
Yeah, that's the last question she has?
Yeah.
Lucinda, where are we on the reservoir, the ice skating ring? I got 3 calls today from people up in the Heights.
Councilman, for recreational ice skating, we were able to work with Newport Skates to provide recreational skating opportunities. It's not a rink that we are running ourselves, but it is the opportunity. And the conversation with regards to the significant capital expenses at the rink is certainly ongoing. At the reservoir, I believe that the Department of Infrastructure continues identifying the appropriate design for the bridge to make the wraparound on the walkway. And I know that that project is
I'm talking about
actively
the
underway.
ice skating ring. The ice skating ring.
Councilman, the ice skating rink is a significant financial lift that we need to have a real conversation with the city to identify funds, determine how much money should be expended on site. and determine what really we should be fixing. It is not in my capital budget within the Department of Recreation and Youth Development, excuse me, to be putting forth the significant amounts of monies to repair the rink at this juncture. So we did make sure that we had recreational skating opportunities through a partnership that we made with a private entity at Newport Skates. I look forward to continued conversations on the rink so we can return it to reality for the city, but I'm not prepared at this juncture, Councilman, to tell you how I'm going to be making that happen.
Cindy, I just have one question. This maintenance contract, this doesn't have to do anything with the clay for the ball fields or anything like
It
that.
does not, Councilman. The lining and the clay for our baseball fields, for our other athletic fields, stays in-house with our athletic field maintenance teams. Thank you, Council. Happy holidays to everybody.
Council President, before we call up the next director, just wanted to record for the record, Councilperson Ridley in attendance at 4:08 PM and Councilperson Gilmore at 4:10 PM. So we now have 8 council members in attendance.
Good evening, everyone. I have 3 resolutions this afternoon. The first one is resolution number 23-915, agenda item 10.12. And this is a resolution to authorize municipal council to discharge the mortgage encumbering the property at 224 Pine Street in Jersey City. This homeowner received a loan in the amount of $40,000 for the Golden Neighborhoods Home Ownership Program. And all matters in reference to the mortgage have been satisfied, and the city is therefore obligated to execute the discharge of this mortgage. The next resolution I have is resolution number 23-916, agenda item number 10.13. And this is a resolution for the municipal council to authorize the award of $603,339.93 and the execution of a subrecipient agreement with the Jersey City Housing Authority to administer the city's United States Department of Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And this is the second tranche of funds. And the last item that I have for you is resolution 23-942. That is agenda item 10.39. And this is requesting a resolution of need from the city of Jersey City regarding the development entitled Birchwood at the Fairmount Hotel. As of 10/19/23, the New Jersey Mortgage Finance Agency announced a program entitled the Urban Preservation Program, where they have $80 million of funds available to property owners whose affordability controls are set to expire. This property, the Fairmount Hotel, affordability controls with the city of Jersey City are set to expire in November of 2024, therefore making them eligible to apply for this program. The request is for the City Council of Jersey City to sign off on this resolution of need, saying that there are work of upgrades that need to be done at this facility, which would allow the owner to apply for this pool of grant funding to extend their affordability controls.
So this, where's this establishment at?
This property is located at 2595 John F. Kennedy, and we are discussing 59 units of senior housing.
It's some of the only.
Oh,
housing
okay, I know where you, yeah.
It's across the street from Boyd McGinnis Building,
Mhm.
and they're in desperate need of upgrades for everything from the elevators on.
Mhm. Oh, so they need a local resolution to say that.
For us acknowledging that the need is there for them to do the work in order for them to submit that with their application from the funds. This is not a promise that they're going to be in receipt of those funds. This is just an agreement that they should be applying, and that we also are confirming that they currently have affordability controls that are set to expire.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Good evening, Council President and Council. It's been a while. It's nice to be in front of you again. I'm here for item 1015, Resolution 23-918. Excuse me, it is the payment to Safeware for the maintenance of our radio system. I know it says Public Safety Communication and Technology Center, but this is the radio system for the entire city. We maintain in excess of 3,600 radios for police, for fire, for DPW, for Board of Education, for MUA, and it goes on and on and on. It's an important maintenance contract.
Questions?
Director, it says it's a claim. Do we have an existing contract with Safeware?
Yes, yes, we do for a couple others. What happened with this one is the department budget was actually underfunded. And I have to say one thing sitting here about teamwork in the city. Thanks to Kyle and Danny and Jesse Rivera, our bit getting this done. It's I have to thank them because they really worked hard with me to get this through.
Okay, great. And I just want to make sure, obviously, that this is fully incorporated in the 2024 budget. Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Stacy. Afternoon.
Council President, Council, I'm not sure if any of you have met Dr. Ciron. Dr. Ciron is the acting director for animal control. So he is currently practicing as our health officer assistant. So he has a health officer license, works directly with Paul Bellenboyer, and will be moving to the shelter on January 1st. And so we came to present, and this is his first time presenting to council, so I wanted to introduce him to all of you, present the appointment of the animal control officers that are starting next week so that they're ready for January 1st. It's a resolution appointing the officers with the authority to investigate and enforce animal control laws of the state and certain ordinances on behalf of the city of Jersey City. This allows them to get their badge and write the tickets starting January 1st.
It's item 10.10, council members.
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, Council President and members of City Council. I'm joined tonight by the Director of Senior Affairs, Joan Eckelson. Resolution 23914, agenda number 10.11, a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City accepting a grant and authorizing the execution of a grant agreement with the County of Hudson Department of Health and Human Services, Office on Aging. The grant period is January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024 in the amount of $1,154,147 with a minimum 25% required match to make the program whole of $384,715.67. The program will cover home delivered meals and weekend home delivered meals for our Meals on Wheels program, congregate nutrition and nutrition education, and I will let Joan briefly discuss the socialization and recreation.
Now, we do very well with socialization and recreation. Anytime a senior gets on a bus, anytime a senior goes to a senior center, does any activity, we get reimbursed $30 a person. So we just have to enter them all in the system. So this allows us to continue all of our programs. And if anybody wants to see, we have all the numbers from last year of the trips and everything by ward.
Yes.
We have all this, okay? This has all of our figures, but this allows us to continue all of our programs.
Thank you, Joan. Give it to Sean. He'll pass it to us. Thank you. Laura?
Good evening, Council President and Council members. I'm here for item 10.6, resolution number 23-909, A resolution granting veterans exemptions for local property taxation pursuant Title 54:4-3.30. Veterans who have been totally disabled service connected are entitled to 100% of the exemption in the principal residence. These exemptions are for two properties, one in 451 Mallory Avenue and the other one in 25 Fulton Avenue, Unit 2. The total to be canceled is $6,913.98.
Questions?
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Sure.
Good afternoon, Council President and council members. I'm here to present three resolutions. The first one is Resolution 23906, Agenda 10.3. This is a resolution to cancel any balances or credits with $10 or less. The next one is 23-907, 10.4. This is a resolution to cancel tax sale certificate 2022-1308, which was sold in error. It's water and sewer charges. And the last one is 23-908, 10.5. This is also a resolution to cancel a certificate 2020-1340. This is also for water and sewer charges.
Can you explain what happened here?
So the water company certifies charges to us for tax sale. There are sometimes things fall through the cracks where they put the charges on the wrong parcel, or the parcel is now condos. It's different reasons, but they reimburse. We don't have to pay anything out. It's the water company that does.
Okay, I do want to bring some, well, I mean, I've spoke to the MUA about this. So before these water bills go to property liens, there seems to be a lag or disconnect between when the property owner paid the water bill here versus when Viola get it. I have had a personal issue, and I've had two instances with two different constituents. It's not being triggered immediately or within a proper frame. So what that means is when you pay it, Viola don't know that we paid you guys. I don't know where the disconnect is, but it becomes a hassle because you gotta constantly call people and say, hey, it was paid on this day, look at the receipt and stuff like that. So we can, I mean, I don't know if this within your jurisdiction of making sure it happened, but seeing that you work there, we can figure out a way where it's paid, it can be immediately triggered to the water company because to them is an outstanding balance, and then you get that, but it's like another charge because it's like you didn't pay before.
So they certify the charges to us. We have no control. We can't see what payments taxpayers have paid. We don't have access to their system.
No,
So-
I'm talking about once it goes into
the tax sale process?
Yeah, it's out of the water company's hand. It comes to us, correct?
Correct.
Now, what I'm saying is there's also a period that we're able to pay before it goes to the actual tax sale. Some residents pay at that juncture, but it's not immediately recognized on Viola's behalf.
That's something you have to talk to the JCMUA about.
But that would be, okay.
Mhm. When they pay us because of the pending tax sale, we notify them within a day, and then we wire the funds to the MUA.
Oh.
So they're notified if they're a tax sale candidate only.
Say that again, just so we clear, so the record reflect this, because I'm sure this is not what happened. Can you just repeat what you just said?
If they're a tax sale candidate, which means that the Veolia sent us a list of who is delinquent. When the homeowner pays or the mortgage company pays, we send an email to the MUA and Viola saying who paid that day, and then we wire the funds to them.
Within 24 hours, I need that to be clear, or within whatever.
72 hours usually.
Okay,
It's
72.
usually 2 or 3 days.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Holiday. Matt?
Good afternoon, council. I'm here on two items. I'm going to start with resolution item 10.38, number 23-941. This is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City redirecting the planning board to prepare an amendment or revision to the Liberty Harbor North redevelopment plan. This was previously authorized under resolution 23-050, and upon coming back to council with an ordinance, the ordinance was adopted, ordinance number 23-021. This is an ordinance to restart that process. Oh, I'm sorry, a resolution to restart that process. So if this resolution is adopted, the amendments contained in the original or presented to the planning board and council would be scheduled again before planning board.
So, Matt, so we just did a plan and the council voted on it? Is this the one, that's not over, yeah, that's one, then we just voted on that site, right?
It was ordinance 23-021, so it was this year.
And I was in so why are we, like, how do we get it? Did we leave something out? Did we not, what happened?
I am not particularly informed on all the reasons why we're restarting this process.
Well, we can't just be wasting taxpayers' money starting processes over without explanations.
Andy?
You were all sent a memo this afternoon on it. Just check your inbox. It gives over the full reasons for the ordinance. It's procedural at the end of the day.
It's procedural? Well, for the record, can you just state what's in it?
So the matter's in litigation right now.
Oh, okay.
Read the memo.
All right, all right. Okay.
If you have any questions too, you reach out to the law department or the BA and we'll get you the answers for it.
All right, item 4.9. This is a second reading ordinance for number 23-124. My attendance was requested today. That's it.
This is the new.
Yes.
Yep. I have something, yeah. So there were two small issues that we were working out with the applicant that had been brought before the council. It came as a late addition at the last meeting. And it's very small minor changes to the 6th Street Pier and to just guaranteeing the right of the pedestrian passageway through the mall to the pass station. We sent to planning to review on Friday, and then we discussed Monday, and the applicants said they were fine. So what we'll do is just email to the law department to your review for make sure it's substantial or not substantial, and then I'll email to the full council so you just can see that it's very minor language changes. But we had wanted to make sure that those were done before second reading and defer to the law department if this is substantial or not.
Do we have the changes, Councilman Solomon?
I do, but you don't yet because we're working on them today, but I will make sure that they're emailed to everybody.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice holiday. Jennifer?
Good evening, Jennifer Drago from Municipal Court. I'm here on two resolutions today. First is item 1025, resolution 23928. It's authorizing the renewal contract for Jonda Printing Company for the purchase and delivery of the PATS polythermal paper rolls. This is for a one-year contract in the amount of $57,585. That'll be effective January 1st. The paper rolls are used to purchase The paper rolls are purchased by the court and provided to the parking authority so that they can issue their electronic tickets.
So if we vote this down, there's no more parking tickets?
Well, I have quite a supply already, but yeah, I'm sure that'll happen soon. No electronic parking tickets, but I'm sure the police department will handwrite those for you.
Like, looking for an early Christmas present, council?
The second item is 1026. That's resolution 23929, authorizing the renewal of the Para Plus translations contract for interpreting services for the court. The court is required to provide a certified and experienced interpreting service during all court sessions. This is a one-year contract as well in the amount not to exceed $80,000 and is also effective January 1st with a $45,000 temporary encumbrance. Welcome. Have a good night.
Hello, Council President, council members. I'm here with a first reading ordinance, agenda item 3.1, ordinance 23-125. It is amending chapter 160 for fees and charges, updating and introducing new fees. Actually, there are three different things happening. So the first thing is updating and adding administrative fees for the Department of Infrastructure for multiple items that include dumpster permits, traffic permits, development application review, and then road opening permit fees. And I can go through each of them separately if you'd like. The second thing is establishing a new fee for vehicles blocking bike lanes across the city, which is something we spoke about in my budget hearing last week, which is a fee that did not previously exist that we would be establishing. And then the third thing is removing outdated clauses in the municipal code, which are problematic for work that goes on in the city right now. One of those includes the ability for anyone to close a street for a period less than 2 hours without a permit, which we think obviously should not be happening anywhere. And the second clause is the ability to waive a contractor's requirement to have to repave a street if the street has been recently repaved within the past 10 years. So we think that any time a street is dug up, a contractor should be required to repave in full. That previously was waived in the code, so we're just taking out that clause. So those are the three things happening in this ordinance. And it's
If you
first reading.
speak a little about, so now, what if any consequences we have for people who obstruct bike lanes now? There's no violation at all?
There's no violation in the code currently. So there may be other ways for enforcement officials to issue violations based on Title 39, which is a state statute, things like double parking or a vehicle idling or other things that they may be able to use as cause. But specifically for blocking the bike lane or double parking in the bike lane is not something that's covered by either the state statute or our current ordinance.
And the violation is going to be 175?
Yes.
How much is a regular double parking ticket?
It's much lower. It's around, I think the state statute is $54. The law department can confirm. We are being consistent with our neighboring city of Hoboken. Their violation for double parking in a bike lane is $150.
What's the justification though? Because if a car is double park, it causes a safety hazard in general. So now you're double parked in a bike lane. I mean, I'm not saying I'm pro or against. I'm just trying to figure out what would be the rationale for it to be more than if it was regularly double parked.
Sure, there is quite a differential in safety when a person who's on a bicycle is in the travel lane and has to veer out into a vehicular travel lane. They're more exposed to a possible crash and conflict points. And the risk is not as high for someone who would be already in a vehicle veering into an adjacent lane or an oncoming lane. And really, the justification is for us to try to prioritize the users of the street that are the most vulnerable, who may be more prone to conflicts. And so that's the reason we wanted to make the fee as high as possible.
I mean, and then.
We would also like to update similarly fees for vehicles blocking a crosswalk, which
That's what I was.
just as
that's-
dangerous,
that was my.
as well as vehicles blocking a bus stop or a fire hydrant.
Okay.
However, those 2 or 3 elements are governed by state statute. And so we've been advised by the law department that we cannot change those. However, this is one that doesn't have specific language. And so we can establish a fee that we think is appropriate for that.
So let me ask you a question. What happens when the bicyclists like break the rules? Like, is there any way that
Appropriately.
so to answer to the question to the law department, how does that happen? Can the Jersey City, whoever breaks the law, the bicyclists break the law like they often do? Can they just like get a ticket and it's 100%? So we just want to make clear, I do want to have that on the record so that I can reach out to the public safety director and say, okay, do we have, because it happens a lot. I mean, I know that we're really doubling down on, the motor vehicles, right? But the bicyclists really, really break a lot of rules here. We want to make sure that, it goes both ways.
They're required to follow all the same laws that a car would. For example, traffic signals, stop signs, everything else. The police could absolutely give them a ticket for it.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
John, you expect them to enforce this? This is ridiculous. The bike lanes have created traffic congestion and everything else. They've caused a load of problems. None of them come down my block. None of them ride in the bike lane. They ride in the middle of the street. They ride down the wrong ways. Nobody's going to enforce these laws.
That's I would just like to say that currently, after many years of us getting criticism of not being able to establish bike lanes in neighborhoods where we currently don't have all of the support for converting roadways or redesigning roadways where they would impact traffic, we have now been working on upgrading the bike lanes that exist in Greenville, which will not be protected. So we are just taking the bike lanes, keeping them as they are, but upgrading them with a higher quality material on several streets in Greenville. However, as we are doing that, a fee like this will help ensure that even when a bike lane is not protected, has no sort of vertical element or delineator or barrier to prevent vehicles from encroaching on that lane, that there is still some mechanism to discourage that behavior, which can be very dangerous for people, so that we can encourage more people to ride. So that is really the justification behind it, where in places where we cannot build protected bikeways, where there isn't the support for it, that this is another way to help ensure safety and that the lanes are kept clear in any way possible.
Do we have, I know you said the bikes are supposed to follow the rules of the cars, but do we have anything on the books with regards to bikes using the bike lane?
Yes.
Are they, like, is there any fee that we impose on bikes that aren't using the bike lanes? Because that's part of the real problem, is a lot of the bikes aren't using the lane when the lane is there. Like, certain areas I understand, but when the lane is actually there, we have a lot of people that aren't using it.
Yeah, I believe somewhere in the code, I don't know exactly which chapter it's in, there are regulations that say that when a bikeway is present, that people on a bike are expected to use that bikeway. When a clear or protected bikeway is not present, or when there's a dangerous situation without a clear bikeway on a street, per Title 39, a cyclist is allowed to take the lane, which is the vehicular lane, if that is what they need to do in order to pass or travel safely.
I think we're going to be rich.
No, I think we need to reassess the fee, Joe.
Right. Another question is, I don't know who to ask this for, but one of the things that's like great, for the bike lanes is when you guys put that Jersey barrier, that really protects them. So I don't know how expensive that is, if we can do Jersey barriers throughout. concerning is that we alter roads, for the bikes. And that's a real big problem when we use road diets, and we alter roads and it's causing a big problem, at least in the downtown area.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Brian?
Danny, joke. I don't care.
Good afternoon, Council. I have one item for your consideration, Agenda 10.24, Resolution 23-927. This is a resolution authorizing an amendment to a professional services contract with Epic Management Incorporated for the continued professional services related to our staff augmentation project for various park improvements. It was a year contract. They ran out of time for various reasons. So by extending this at no cost, they're going to be able to see these projects through next year.
Question. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Vivian?
Holidays.
Good evening, Council.
Evening.
I have two items for this evening. First item is 10.1, which is Resolution 23-904, which is the special item for me to put the new grants in the current budget. There are 5 new grants that we're placing in the budget. 4 are for UEZ, and 1 for recycling tonnage.
The
UEZs, we have the Special Improvement District, which is 1,150,000. We have a micro business real estate, which is 800,000. We have a small business incubator, which is $751,116. And then we have UEZ marketing, which is 1.6 million. All of this funding is actually through JCEDC, where we accept the money on their behalf and they perform the work and we reimburse them. And the next one is item 10.2, which is Resolution 905, which is the amendment of our current grant consultant who's grant right, their contract. We had to add $74,000 to their contract. And the reason we had to add $74,000 to their contract, it was because we had 4 outstanding grants dating back from 2018 until present for the fire department that we had already spent the funding for, but we had not gone to the federal government and asked them for reimbursement. Now, what the understanding is, because of the change in positions in the fire department, and there were some retirements and some people were promoted, these grants weren't addressed in regards to the drawdowns. So our grant consultant, Grant Wright, has been working on this for approximately 2 months. They've been working with Chief Hart and Chief Drennan, and to date, we have just about captured all of the funding that is due to us. All of the so the total funding that's outstanding that could be due to us is $8.1 million, and we've recaptured probably about 80% that's due to us.
So some of that is going back to the fire department?
It goes back into our budget. Yes, it goes back to the fire department.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's the fire department, right?
It's the fire department. There is one for the police department, but that's more current, so it's not a big threat. We were at the point where we were going to lose this funding and we were going to have our actual funding suspended from FEMA if we did not address these grants. They weren't going to give us any more funding.
So so as leadership changed, the Like, there's no structure, like when someone leaves, someone follow and take.
Should take over, yes. So now, Director Gandula has, put in place where the reporting will go through someone. And so, and also, the federal government asks for this also, that it's not a uniform person. It's an actual city employee that's non-uniform that would report to, FEMA. So right now, we have our grant consultant doing the reporting. And then once, the, administration identifies someone outside of the, fire department, then that person would be responsible for the reporting along with the grants office.
I think more than a person, the process, right? Because the person is going to come and go.
Right.
I would have lost my mind if we lost out on all that money because somebody left or somebody got promoted and we didn't make sure we did our due diligence. So I just hope we straighten up or strengthen that process, whereas though it's the next person up.
We are doing that in the grants office currently. We have been working diligently the past 6 months since staff has been added. We have been working with every department and we have policies and procedures now. We've been working with them to make sure that they are updated on their reportings and that we know exactly what is outstanding, what has been reported, and exactly because we just had a meeting about this, not even right before this meeting, and compliance is a big problem when it comes to the departments. We get the money.
I was compliant.
But we never go back to capture what is owed to us. So we spend it, but we don't go back.
It's compliant.
I would just say, Councilman, in the Department of Finance budget hearing, I went over in detail like what we're looking to do in the grants division. Historically, we were decentralized. We left a lot of the management to the departments.
Yeah.
So ultimately, with Vivian, our staffing, and some of the levels, you will see some of the changes, the system changes that we'll need to do. Grants is a complicated space. There's a lot of compliance pieces. But, luckily to Vivian and my team, we were able to capture back and not lose that money. And then in the interim of COVID and people, it's reality, right? In government, we're tied to paper and people and not systems. And we had that happen in the fire department. People left and we worked to recapture those funds.
Thank you. Annie?
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
I'm here to present one item for your consideration. It is item number 10.7, Resolution 23-910. It is a resolution authorizing calendar year 2023 appropriation transfers for the Office of Risk Management, Insurance Fund Commission. Any questions?
I have a related question. I had a constituent reach out who just had a settlement approved by the city in November, and he was hoping to receive the check. I can email you the information afterward, but I just wanted to see if this transfer would help facilitate.
Absolutely. So this particular transfer, Councilman, there were 7 resolutions that was already approved by this council.
Okay. So I'll email you his name.
Sure, please.
Just to see if we can, this will help and we can get him the check before the holidays.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine?
Good evening, Council President and council members. I have one item for you this evening. It's item number 10.8, Resolution 23-911. This is a resolution approving the appointment of individuals to the Jersey City Arts and Culture Trust Fund Committee. There are 4 positions that are open for the 2-year term. Those members are Joseph Harkins, serving as the mayor's designee and a voting member for a term of 2 years. Ann Marley, serving as a designee for Ward C for 2 years. Sandy Martini, serving as a voting member for Ward D for 2 years. And Nobuki Takaman, serving as a voting member of Ward E for 2 years.
Question? Thank you. Thank you. Happy holidays. Armin?
Good evening, council members. I'm here for two items. The first is the second reading on the MUA franchise agreement. I think it's item 4.1, ordinance 23-09. I have Dennis Enright here with me and John McKinney from the law department who helped work on this franchise agreement. So I just want to hear any additional questions that you may have about this process. I think earlier on in the year when we started the budget, we understood that this was coming and now it's being presented so that we can move over and work to renew this agreement.
Oh, no, sorry, question, sorry. Sorry, I guess the first question is, what is the status given the local finance, before the local finance board?
Explain.
I am Dennis Enright from NW Financial.
Put your mic up. We can't hear.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Dennis Enright from NW Financial. We're the financial advisor. The local finance board action, you don't go to them for approval or denial. It's just findings. So they had negative findings because they didn't understand it, in my opinion. But that doesn't prevent us from moving ahead with funding. We can still move ahead with funding.
Okay, so their opinion is purely advisory, so it doesn't have
Correct.
any.
That's correct.
Okay. And then I know there had been some discussion with some folks about the length, right? Could we do something of a smaller amount, a smaller length of time? I think I sort of apologize. I was under the impression that before it came back to the council, we were going to kind of discuss potential alternatives that was drafted, but could you at least speak about the length, the 40 years and what alternatives were considered in terms of the timing?
Sure. We looked at all the possible terms that we could consider, but the issue is that although the iBank, which is where you get most of your funding for capital, is willing to look past the actual franchise agreement for funding, if we have to go to market for anything that's not eligible for the iBank, there are some projects in queue that would have to do that. The market won't look beyond that, and we can't issue beyond the length of the franchise, because they have to have the pledge of the revenues during the period the bonds are outstanding. So that's the trigger there. That's a problem. Typically, new bond issues would be 30-year bonds. So we suggested a 40-year so that, when you get to with 10 years from now, you don't have to do this all over again immediately. And, the capital program at the MUA is gigantic because of regulations from the EPA and the DEP. We're talking well into the billions of dollars.
Right. I apologize. So I had emailed the BA on September 27th, a series of questions, and my understanding was that they hadn't been answered because we were continuing to work on options. So I guess one question is right now, as I understand this agreement, there's a $50 million upfront fee. How is that fee going to be paid?
The planning in August, when this was first on your agenda, was that we would pay $30 million in 2023, $10 million in 2024, and $10 million in 2025.
And how? But I mean, how is the MUA going to fund that payment to us?
Through the issuance of revenue bonds.
Okay. And what do we anticipate the interest rate on those bonds being?
In today's market, 5%, give or take.
And what impacts will this have on both sewer and water rates?
It'll be a pretty minor impact overall on sewer and water rates because the capital program is, well, again, $2 billion is what's going to impact rates. We've designed rates to go up at 5% a year, and the franchise fee would be covered within that.
Okay. And Section 507 of the agreement says that if there's any outstanding bonds, the city can't make any changes to the agreement that may negatively affect the MUA's ability to pay off the bonds. And how long do we expect there to be outstanding bonds? And if there are outstanding bonds during the entire extended term, does this section essentially mean that the city cannot amend the annual franchise fee?
So though that provision was taken from the original franchise agreement, it's not a new provision. So anytime you make an amendment to make an adjustment, say on an annual franchise payment, because you know there's a need for more, you really need to test whether or not there's still enough money to pay the bonds. You couldn't ask them or put them in a position to pay more money than they need to pay the bonds.
Sure. I guess, but what's different about this franchise agreement is it locks the annual fee in. You know, in the last one.
Well,
we
they
had,
all
the
did,
fee-
but they
had the
were all
fee-
locked at,
Well-
but they keep changing. They've been changed 3 times at least since the beginning, and they can be changed in the future. That provision is just to make sure that bondholders are protected.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, right now this sets a fee, and then it's a fee that doesn't change. But you're saying is 10 years from now the fee could be changed,
Yes, they could, yes,
and you would have to get, I assume, both the city and the MUA to agree to rewrite it.
correct. They'd have to renegotiate it. You'd have to make sure that there was enough money in the MUA, from their cash flows to pay for it, and you could make another adjustment. That's been the history of the franchise fee since 1998.
Questions? Excellent comment.
The next item is 10.4, a resolution. 10.40, a resolution authorizing the city to do an emergency appropriation financing of $21 million for tax appeal liabilities and general liabilities. Anyone have any questions?
Right. 10.40, Rich. Yeah.
1040, resolution 23943.
Question.
We just start with, can you give us the overview of what's going on?
So this year, in regards to items that were presented in tax court, there were some liabilities that increased. Historically, or this year, we were paying them as we went and as they came to refund. But as things, again, still attributed to COVID in the courts, we got a lot more liabilities related to this. It was about close to $11 million of refunds. So in preparation and conversation with our financial advisor, our budget consultant, this was a recommendation of putting this forward in the event that we don't have overruns, over expenditures for our budget. So we worked out this financing to cover any shortfalls or gaps that we may have as where we're at with the budget.
Go ahead, James.
Can we get a breakdown of every tax appeal that's sort of been adding up to this number?
Yep.
I'm saying, like, I understand why the courts and the like might be behind. It's a really, really large number. So if we can understand,
Sure.
Whether it's commercial, residential, a mix of both.
It's a mix of both. I mean, it's a mix of both. And when we went to prepare this resolution, I asked, should we upload it? And they said we could provide it in the format of a memorandum if the council asks in regards to getting those details, because that's.
Yeah, that would be helpful because we
And,
saw the resolution with no corroborating information, and I think we all come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And is it accurate to see, you mentioned 11 million in potential liabilities from the appeals? And then if this is higher than that, is that simply to cover possibly higher tax appeals, or is it possibly covering other budget, shortfalls potentially?
Well, legally, we prepared this to cover any general liabilities as well in case something does come. But I just saw Trish and I was like, did you get any information, anything pending or any of the vouchers? And it really, unfortunately, is on a rolling basis. We did attempt to try to collect this information ahead of time, but we didn't get it. We didn't get anything. And so I got to work with the assessor's office. I got to work with the courts to get this information. So in the event that that there are more, I would say, budget sources, we would have to come back again next year to cover it. So, and again, you guys know we're preparing our financials. We're getting things together. We're getting the data and the budget to prepare for you guys. So considering this is the end of the year, I just don't want any surprises or gaps in saying that we didn't prepare a plan or present something to you in preparation to cover some of all the moving pieces of our municipal budget.
And this would be like the accumulated absences, this would be paid over 5 years. Is that accurate or?
Yeah, this would be paid over 5 years.
Okay. I mean, I understand where you're coming from here. I questioned for finance, everybody is just given interest rates are high.
Yeah.
You know, are we better off at a lower number with this? Because obviously you have to pay this back over 5 years and we have some other liabilities in the next couple of budget cycles.
I wouldn't want to go lower in the sense that we already know there's some things didn't make this meeting that needed to come on this meeting. There are other things that I can't predict. And so this is legally allowing me to authorize, let's just say a backup plan in the event that come next month or 2 months from now, that we have to increase taxes greater than what we have. We presented a 5-year plan with at a 2% increase at what we are, and that's what we're trying to do. So I can definitely get you more of a breakdown in detail of, you know, the properties and who's in court and all those things. But if I don't have it, I can't give it to you. Not from our end, though. Just making that clear.
Give it to us.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
I mean, John McKinney's here, and he knows that when I asked Maslow and I asked some of the attorneys to get me the information we needed, it took me literally like 2-3 months just to get a conclusive like analysis from what's pending. I have no control over that.
There's nothing we can do, John?
We get flooded with tax appeals every year, so it really is kind of up in the air. There's not much we can do about that except fight them.
But I mean,
But we have to do
council-
something.
Yeah, put us at a.
We have to do
disadvantage.
something. We just can't keep accepting it.
Okay.
What can we do?
Don't necessarily accept them. They have a right to appeal their taxes in front of the county board. And the county board is relatively friendly to the taxpayer. So we are going to have some instances, probably a majority of instances, where the baby's going to get split and taxes might come down a little bit.
We need to gather the information. That's part of our problem. So what's taking us so long to gather that information? Because it ties the financial department up. And
I believe on this one, the issue was there were just simply matters that were still pending. So the data just wasn't there at the time that it was needed.
But I think this isn't for you, John, but like certainly someone, who's the assessor or attorneys who are arguing these things, should at least know what the potential liability is and saying, okay, you know, you have your range of outcomes. You have if we lose these couple of cases where we got a big, you know, a big hurdle. And I think, you know, I have been in pretty constant communication with the BA and the law department, asking us to prep for possible tax appeals on commercial real estate in the future, given declines in commercial real estate values. And to date, we haven't gotten anywhere with those requests. So it's just, you know, but obviously this is the reason why. It's so you're planning in advance and knowing that these outcomes could possibly occur. So that's not directed at you. It's just globally, like we need to know what our liabilities are and be able to plan for them.
Sure. On the larger ones, I don't think that's necessarily as much of an issue. It's just everything combined is what hits us. So we'll look into it. We can discuss it more in the future.
doesn't help us today. I understand, John. But you have to come up with some type of solution, though. I mean, if we constantly keep accepting the behavior, then they'll keep giving it to us like this. That's part of the problem. It affects residents.
So it's not that all of these are results of us settling tax disputes. It's sometimes the county board rules in favor of the person who's filed the appeal. There's nothing we can really do about that except take it up to state court from there, which we do on a number of them.
Problem is she's not even getting information. That's like a window there. She's estimating because she haven't received all the information she needs to really do a correct analysis. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
A comment. Like how big are the discrepancies? Like how from what we projected and what they think it should be? How
I mean, we already paid out like close to 20 million this year.
This year?
Yeah. Over time. And so the remaining of this, and when I tell you guys, asking for the information, trying to get the stuff from the assessor's office. I don't think that they had someone looking at this from an analytical standpoint versus a rolling standpoint. So we're preparing this financing to get us to cover the gaps, more so our tax appeals, but also covering any general liabilities that we do have.
This.
I mean, and again, there's nothing, I see you shaking your head, but you can, if we can afford it, we can pay it, right? You don't necessarily have to do this, but still we're coming out of the pandemic, and to Councilman Solomon's point, the commercial market and taxes, of course, those are some of the things, not just impacting Jersey City, but impacting a lot of my peers that, we sit here, we raise taxes, and then they go to court and they appeal, and then we have things that we have to pay out. So definitely taking deeper dives with our liabilities and taking these proactive steps and measures forward is what I'm trying to avoid in the event that there's the other way. We raise it in taxation come next year. But that global conversation of what's happening in the courts, I personally have no control over that.
On another note too, when we do actually enter into a settlement, the rates are locked for a couple of years. So it's not like they can keep coming back on it.
Carmen, you're in a tough spot, but you really do a very good job. I'm really you really knock it out the park. Thank you.
I'm trying, definitely.
She needs. That's the issue here. She thinks Carmen.
Have a good evening. Happy holidays.
Oh.
Good afternoon, Council President. I have 2 items tonight. I will start with the ordinance that I'll be presenting on behalf of Director Wong from Traffic Engineering, who couldn't be here tonight. It is ordinance number 23-126, and that is ordinance 3.2. The purpose of this ordinance is to designate reserved parking spaces at various locations throughout the city. All permittees have submitted applications for a reserved parking space that have been reviewed and recommended for approval by the committee at the meeting held on November 1st, 2023. Any questions? All right. The second is the resolution 23-932, and that's agenda 10.29. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of a notice in lieu of deed notice. This is between PPG and the city. This is an older document, an older agreement that started in 2009 and has multiple different locations. This is just adding an additional location near Garfield Avenue, located beneath the Hudsonburg and Light Rail overpass to this existing document. All right, thank you. Happy holidays.
Good evening. I am here for agenda number 1027, resolution 23-930. The resolution authorizing the payment of a claim submitted by Intersection Media LLC to prepare graphics used in the Resilient Northeastern New Jersey Action Plan. This resolution is to authorize the just the payment of excuse me, sorry.
Okay, take your time.
Jersey City is the primary for the Resilient North New Jersey grant.
Take your time, young lady. You got it. These people ain't scary up here.
Oh, it's been a day.
Public speaking is not easy.
Oh, I know. Especially following everybody who's just been so perfect.
Yeah, they've been here for 100 years though, so don't let them.
New Jersey is the Jersey City is the primary for the Resilient New Jersey grant. Following that, as prime, Jersey City is responsible for paying subrecipients or awardees as per the grant agreement. Arcadis is the project lead of the Resilient New Jersey grant, and they hired Intersection Media. Intersection Media performed services from September 22nd or December 2022 through October 2022. And the invoice is dated for November 2022, which makes this a claim. Due to the absence of a director in the Division of Sustainability for an extended period of time, this invoice has yet to be resolved, which is why I'm bringing it to you today.
Okay.
Great. Any questions? Thank you, Amanda.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
When you don't get any questions, you did a great job. All right, from the top. So first reading ordinances 3.1 through 3.2 were touched on earlier. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 23-127 is an ordinance revising the street names in the Bayfront redevelopment site. On to our second reading ordinances. Item 4.1 was touched on earlier. Item 4.2, City Ordinance 23-105 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-5, one-way streets, and Section 332-7, prohibited turns at intersections, and Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking prohibited at all times, to convert Wayne Street into a two-way street between Marin and Grove Street.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna ask us if we can just defeat it. We emailed all the comments to traffic and engineering a couple weeks ago, but as I think we all acknowledge, it's been a busy month and we haven't gotten the feedback. And instead of just like kicking it down, I don't want the community to be like worried that they have to keep coming back. It's just like, let's defeat it. We'll get the feedback from traffic and engineering when we get it in January, and then whatever the plan is moving forward, we can bring back whatever that plan might be. So I just don't want to keep kicking it down.
Okay.
Because it's been a month and we haven't been able to get the feedback we want.
So, Councilman, is your intention to make a motion to go to defeat the ordinance without holding a public hearing? Do you want to
Correct.
hold the public hearing?
No, just defeat it without the public hearing,
Okay,
because we don't know what the ultimate plan is going to be. So, yeah.
So I'll need a motion from you in a second in order to do that, to not have the public hearing, and just motion to defeat the ordinance. And then I'll take a vote to actually defeat the ordinance. Okay?
Motion.
Not now. All right, next, 4.3, City Ordinance 23-118 is an ordinance amending Chapter 90, Animals, Article 3, Dogs and Other Animals, Section 12, Definitions, and Chapter 160, Fees and Charges, Section 14, Permits and Fees, subsection E, Animals, to add and increase fees for animal control and animal shelter services. Next, item 4.4, City Ordinance 23-119 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-5, one-way streets, and Section 332-9, stop intersections, to convert Bramhall Avenue between Van Horn Street and Pacific Avenue into a one-way street in the westbound direction, and convert Bramhall Avenue and Woodward Street into an all-way stop intersection.
Sean, we're gonna hold off on this one. 4.4, Councilman Gilmore's office received some feedback from some residents who don't necessarily live on Bramhall, but live in that immediate area. So we're gonna let the residents from Bramhall and residents in the area kind of talk it out and make a decision on how they want to handle this, because this was a request from the community. So Councilman Gilmore and myself are gonna have a meeting at the top of the year with residents, and then we'll bring this back.
So is it your intention to carry it to the next regular scheduled meeting of the municipal council, which would be January 10th, 2024?
I hope that we can have the meeting before then. That's the intent, is to have the meeting before then. So yes, I'll say that. I'll say yes for now.
Excellent. So I'll just need a motion for that to carry and a second. Next, item 4.5, City Ordinance 23-120 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-9, stop intersections to designate the intersections of Dudley Street and Warren Street and Dudley Street and Washington Street into multi-way stop-controlled intersections. Item 4.6, City Ordinance 23-121 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times, and Section 332-31, Parking Restrictions for Street Cleaning Purposes on Bennett Street between Ege Avenue and Clark Avenue. Item 4.7, City Ordinance 23-122 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, amending Section 332-31, Parking Restrictions for Street Cleaning Purposes on Central Avenue between Route 139 and Newark Avenue. And item 4.8, City Ordinance 23-123, and franchise ordinance granting permission to Deval Patel and Jasrishi Menpenny, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names, pursuant to resolution of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City under case number P22-199, allowing the installation of stoops, bay windows, and planting beds which encroach and extend into the right-of-way beyond the boundary lines of Lot 33, Block 8502, and are for the benefit of Lot 33, Block 852, land now and formerly of Patel and Menempie, and commonly known as 352 Pavonia Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Sean,
Yes.
on that, Council President, Councilperson Bogianni had a question on that at the last meeting. I sent you all the information on this franchise. Did you receive it? Thanks. And just one housekeeping issue. At the November 29th meeting, you passed for first reading. Ordinance 3.8, ordinance 23-125, it didn't get listed on this agenda.
I'll look into that and make sure that we duly advertise I apologize for that, duly advertise the ordinance for a public hearing and final consideration for this Wednesday, but I'll double check that. I apologize. Okay. And 4.9, which was covered early, and I'll double check on 23-125. Okay, we have our public speakers. Right now, we have 36 speakers. Any questions or comments on petitions and communications items 6.1 through 6.14? We have one Office of Communications. Any questions or comments on 7.1? There are no reported directors. Our claims list is here. And then on to our resolutions. Items 10.1 through 10.8 were touched on earlier. Item 10.9, resolution number 23-912 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Jersey City in support of multi-use protected path on the 14th Street Viaduct. And items 10.10 through 10.29 were touched on earlier. Item 10.30, Resolution 23-933 is a resolution of the Council, the City of Jersey City, authorizing the support of applications to BRP Cove Point LLC and affiliates for the incentive programs administered by New Jersey Economic Development Authority in connection with the redevelopment of the property identified as lots 25, 29, 30, and 31, also known as portions of block 21901.01, lots 4 and 6 within the Bayfront 1 redevelopment area, resolution of need concerning affordable housing at Bayfront. Item 10.31 was touched on earlier. Item 10.32, Resolution 23-935 is a resolution in memory of George Funky Brown, drummer and co-founder of Kool and the Gang, the most sampled drummer and band in the world. As a drummer, I think that's amazing. Item 10.33, Resolution 23-936 is a resolution honoring Timothy Tim Lawrence for his dedication. Item 10.34, Resolution 23-937 is a resolution ratifying the renewal professional service agreement with the law firm McManus, Scotland Barham LLC to provide advice and counsel for certain tax matters. Next, item 10.35, Resolution 23-938 is a resolution authorizing the payment of a claim submitted by Ox Blue for providing camera equipment and time-lapse photography services.
Answer any questions on that if you'd like to discuss offline.
Next, item 10.36, Resolution 23-939 is a resolution renewing professional service agreement with the law firm Hunt, Hamlin, and Ridley to represent the city of Jersey City and various police officers in the matter of Leo Pinkston versus the city of Jersey City. Excuse me. Item 10.37, Resolution 23-940 is a resolution ratifying the renewal of professional service agreement with Broch Elcher LLC to represent Director of Public Safety James Shea in the matter of David Goldrich versus the city of Jersey City. Items 10.38 through 40 were touched on earlier. Item 10.41, Resolution 23-944 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the submission of an application to the local finance board pursuant to NJSA 12A-67G and NJSA 40A:12A-29. And council members, if I heard correctly, is it our intention to remove items 11.3 and 11.4 from the agenda to consider the vote? If it is, you don't have to answer now. We'll just need a motion to do that. That was on behalf of Director Richardson. Without hearing anything else, may I have a motion to adjourn at 5:29 PM? Motion made by Councilperson Rivera. May I have a second? Second by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to adjourn at 5:29 PM, Councilperson Ridley, Councilperson Prinzary, Councilperson Bajano, Councilperson Solomon, Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeJeece, Councilperson Rivera, and Council President Waterman. Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Saleh absent to adjourn at 5:29 PM. And again, happy birthday to Councilperson Mira Prinzary. And remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night. Go Giants.
Jennifer's son is a 62.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See? At the chariot.